I care about your voice, and I want to see your voice represented in this country, and ultimately to shape the future that you want to see for the world. Not to do it in a transactional way. I want you to vote because I want you to vote for this person. Oh, I want to vote. I want you to vote because I care about your voice and I think it has value.
The name of the organization is When We All Vote, but we've talked about this, we know that there are so many people, particularly people of color, who have been historically disenfranchised.
Mhm.
And so knowing that voting is not equally accessible and that many people's voices aren't heard, how are you seeing this play out in the government? And is there anything that we can do to help change that?
Yeah. All voters are obviously not a monolith, but there are three major ways and reasons why people don't vote. We try and address each of those, and we do that alongside our partners to really amplify and fuel. To ensure that as many people can vote as possible. The first reason people might not vote is logistical barriers or obstacles to voting. Now, have to acknowledge and state that some of that is intentional and some of that is targeted, particularly to voters of color and to young voters. And that is not a coincidence, it's voter suppression. And we know that, as we see additional voter ID laws be introduced, or fewer polling locations, or more efforts to purge voters from the rolls. Um, those are efforts really to make it harder and to make it more of a process to vote, and to disincentivize you to do that voting. So that is very, very real. There are also some logistical barriers, like I don't have a ride to the polls, I don't have childcare, I need time off from work to be able to vote. So both of those things are true. On the voter suppression side, one of the things I think a lot about is how voter suppression is intended to make us feel powerless, and it's designed to make you feel, well, this is out of my control and I am not able to exercise my power. I don't know what to do. So where we can, and this doesn't excuse the fact that it is intentional and those barriers are systemic and exist and are real, and it's okay to be mad about that and it's okay to be frustrated. But what we can also do is say, all right, these are some of the ways that you can take some of that power back and take some of that control back. And so if you're worried about voter purges, for example, check your voter registration. If you're worried about your how to get to your polling place, or fewer polling places being in your city or your community, plan to vote early and plan that process. And we have a number of resources so people can find an early polling place if early voting is available near you, right? So some of that is available on the logistical barriers and access to the polls piece. We're thinking about how are we helping get people to the polls? So, for example, we partner with Lime to provide rides to the polls, and that is can be very helpful to get folks so that they can vote and remove that barrier. The second reason people may not vote is that they feel, well, my voice and my vote doesn't have power; it doesn't make a difference. And in those instances, um, this is about, and I think this is such an important thing that we can all do in conversations with our friends and our family. One is to say, your voice and your vote have power. I see you. Clearly, you are dear to me and you are important to me. And I care about your voice, and I want to see your voice represented in this country, and ultimately to shape the future that you want to see for the world. Not to do it in a transactional way. I want you to vote because I want you to vote for this person. Oh, I want to vote. I want you to vote because I care about your voice and I think it has value. The second part is some elections have been decided in as few as 6 votes. That's just true. That's a group chat, right? That's a dining room table full of people around it. That's family. So that's real. And then the third part of that is, what are the issues that you care about? Let's now talk about, yeah, let's it's not just about the top of the ticket, but let's talk about each position at the local level at the state level, and yes, at the federal level, how each of those levels impact those issues that you care about. So, for example, if you care about criminal justice reform, you care about your mayor because they appoint your police chief. You care about your attorney general because they're setting the in your state because they're setting the standards for prosecution and criminal justice implementation like statewide in your state. And so there's many examples of that, but that's something that we talk about quite a bit. The third reason people may not vote is that they don't have the information that they need. They don't know the deadlines. They don't know how to request an absentee ballot or when. We have a complicated process in this country and it varies by state, and you have to pay attention to your dates and deadlines in your individual states. So we try really to fill that gap by providing a really robust voter registration hub on our website. And of course, we're partnering with you all to make sure that people have those resources readily available. So on the Voting Suits You page, we have a hub with those resources so that you can find those dates and deadlines and share that with your communities.